我是灃食公益饮食文化教育基金会的芳燕哦。好，刚刚3位来宾哦讲得非常的丰富哦。你知道大家不知道有没有抄笔记？像我啊，我自己抄了非常多张满满的笔记，但可以听得到吗？可以听得到吗？满满的笔记。然后我们自己的主办单位就是灃食公益饮食文化教育基金会，准备了一个很好的礼物哦。大家哦，后来他们听说好像做到最后，我们听到。现在听到我们的那个分享到最后，如果有抄笔记的，而且抄的很多的，我们就会送这样的一个礼物。它这个几乎把我们所有透明饮食哦如何做的那个宝藏都放在里面哦，所以这个同事要我上来分享一下。那就是刚刚我们的那个 David 也跟我们分享，就是有关台湾食品产业要透明化是未来的趋势嘛。他讲了一个，就是事后，因为我们过去其实有一些问题的时候都是事后应变，可是现在在美国都转为事前的预防控制，而这落实预防这个事前的预防控制的具体行动，必须要透过一些透明饮食，才能够真正解决问题。而且他刚才讲了一个重点，就是说我们不只是要透明，而且我们要互相信任，不管是生产者跟消费者之间都要互相信任。这是刚刚我们 David 给我们讲的一些重点。那 Henry 他也提到说，因为饮食不仅影响健康，也影响了孩子在学校的表现，对不对？对，所以基本上英国在推动的食育革命啊，是要让孩子在14岁之前必须要学会烹饪。听说他们要学会至少20道烹饪，不是只有学习做甜点，还要做一些咸的东西，做菜这方面。所以其实做烹饪这件事情，因为他必须要学会辨别食物，吃对食物，而且要培养孩子对于食品有正确的观念哦。那刚刚我也听到那个 Henry 讲的一个重点，我觉得蛮重要，就是跟大家分享，就是他说好的食育的推动必须要有3大共同的点。第一个就是一定要有好的领导者 ，right？好的领导者。第二就是说，他必须要全校的计划，必须要把饮食融合在课程中，因为食育基本上它可以用数学啊、英文，它可以用各种方式融合在课程中。第3件事情就是说，他说学校要很在乎孩子喜欢吃什么，因为昨天我们在永平国小有一个那个老师，他就问说，我们想要给孩子吃很营养的东西，但是孩子又想要吃很美味的东西。美味跟营养中间要怎么兼顾呢？因为有些孩子就觉得我们很营养啊，可是东西可能不好吃。所以 Henry 他提醒我们说，学校必须要很在乎孩子喜欢吃什么，而且让这个健康食物要让孩子很期待，把它做得很好吃的样子。所以如果我们要好的食物，基本上我们就必须消费者要有意识，他必须要选择透明，他要选择要有好的一个标准，他不能说他要很 CP 值很高。它要零风险，它要非常好吃，它要有很 exciting 的这种口味，但是它基本上你不能添加任何东西，就是说消费者的要求跟生产者两个完全不能 match 起来。其实这个也是我们现在台湾发生不信任的一个很重要的基础哈。好，其实我们那个 slide 上面问题已经很多了，但是我必须要先问一下我自己的几个问题。第一个就是我想要先问一下 David。你刚才有提到说，在透明饮食的教育，在美国这部分其实做了蛮多努力，尤其像美国第1夫人的那个蜜雪儿奥巴马，他也提到说，要让食品资讯更透明、更明显，所以他希望有一些方式引导民众能够选择更健康的食品。那也就是说，你刚才讲的 FOP 嘛。依您的观察，现在那个美国的食物，它把一些重要的标示放到前头，它把一些钠含量啊，或是糖含量，或是一些卡路里放到前面。你觉得这个的推动的成效，是不是真的有助于改变美国民众的饮食行为，或是选择食物的行为？
Yes, no question that there is an effect, Esther. I think, as I mentioned, in North America, what the consumers are looking for is a very clear message. Consumers have, generally, if they're looking for a message on the front of a package, they're looking for low fat, they're looking for low sugar, they're looking for low sodium, and we've evolved a system, as I mentioned, that's not as even complex as a traffic light. It's moving to very clear messages. This product is low sodium, or this product is low in sugars. The challenge then becomes, how do you define low sodium? How do you define low sugar? And that then brings in the science, and that brings in question of, well, how do you define low sugar versus medium sugar versus high sugar? So it's not quite that simple, but in essence, what's very clear is the nutrition facts panel is complex and it's difficult to understand. Front of packaging labeling works. It will change behaviors, for sure, yes.
明白，就是意思是说，其实因为你刚才讲红绿灯或是黄绿红，但是因为每一个人对于糖啊、对于盐，其实吸收分量是不一样的。就是说，有一些人他可能觉得这是低盐，可对他来说可能那个需要的更低，所以可能还是要看每一个人不同状况。但是基本来说，这样的一个方式，在美国这样的一个食品 FOP 其实是有效的、有帮助的。
Yeah, absolutely. It does. Front of packaging labeling does help, no question about that. But let's not lose sight of what is a primary driver to purchasing in North America. And I haven't done a particular study on it, but I would suspect that cost remains a huge factor. It doesn't matter how much sugar, I've got to feed the kids, I've got to feed the family, and cost makes a huge difference. So we have to balance the messaging with the costs, with the health, nutrition, and that's where it can get complex.
所以待会我会再问一下有关跟消费者沟通的问题哦。第二个，我先来问一下 Henry， 像昨天我们去学校看一下他们的健康的那个营养午餐哦。英国除了在14岁之前要学习烹饪这个料理啊，所谓的融入性的课程有哪些？或是像这样子让孩子在14岁学习烹饪这件事情，真正能够让英国的儿童改变他们的饮食习惯吗？或是你怎么去评估这些课程带来的改变？这样是延续这个问题，就是说，因为你们现在学校的膳食计划有3个地方有示范区哦，那如何透过科技或是数据的分析来判定这些孩子他拥有一些比较营养的饮食后，然后对于他们的健康或是课业表现会更好？就是说，在你这样推动从2015年到2017年这2年多来，我想要问一下有关这个英国推动这个14岁之前需要学习烹饪这个成效的状况。
There's a lot to unpack there. I think the first thing about scientific evidence when you're looking at whole populations is that there are lots of studies on individual cases where people have changed diets or introduced cooking lessons or introduced free breakfast, where you can try to unpick that difference from anything else that was going on, and you can see in each of those cases evidence that something is happening. But populations, if you're looking at the whole of the country, are enormously complex. And I talked about Finland earlier on. This very, very good example. There's a guy called Pekka Paska. Back in the early 70s, Finland had the highest rate of coronary heart disease of every country in the world. The average life expectancy of a male was under 60 years old. It's really, really bad. And Pekka Paska was a young medical student, and he was asked to conduct a study in North Karelia, which is at the top of the country. There were high incidences of smoking, there was a lot of salt in the diet, they were quite sedentary, there wasn't a lot of exercise. And what he did was, he said, I don't have time to test every single interaction to work out which it is that's going to work. We have a really serious situation here. What I need to do is do everything, and then I'll come back and try and untangle what worked. And he called this, he had an expression which is getting your boots deep in the mud. And so what they did in North Karelia was they did everything from reducing salt in the sausages. They had the number one watched local TV show was a competition between different men in different villages of who could eat more healthily. They gave out free snowshoes for elderly people. They lit snow paths so that people could exercise. It was very dark for a lot of the year. They did everything. And the transformation was extraordinary, and they rolled the program out to Finland. male life expectancy rose by 15 years, 1-5. And what he would say is, I don't know which of those, I can't work out which of those things it's impossible to work out which of those things worked the best. I can give you individual studies, but together they had an extraordinary impact. So the first thing I would say is, if you face this comes back to your point about science and evidence, if you face a really difficult situation and you wait until you've got a double-blind trial for what's going to work, everyone is going to be dead, and then you'll have the perfect solution, but it'll be too late. What you can measure, so if you look at the output measures, what you can measure is in particular schools, in terms of improving diet, you can see that improving diet significantly, by about half a year, improves performance in maths and English. It's impossible to look at that over the country because so many other things are going on. If you look at obesity, the obesity was getting worse and worse. It's plateaued, it stopped getting worse, seems to be coming down a bit. And then if you look at the input measures, more children learn to cook, more people understand, surveys where food comes from. But there's still a long way to go. As I said, the government can't change everything. Just by passing a law saying that all children need to be fed, taught how to cook by the 14 doesn't make it happen. So in Hackney, for example, at the moment, I would say, which is my local borough in London, I would say that half the schools are doing a good job at it. We're about to open a cookery school and invite other schools to come along to take our curriculum. But you pass the law, and then it takes a long time for everything to catch up. So I would say, it's a long answer to a short question, but in summary, I would say you can, with difficulty, prove interventions on a small level. The input measures are definitely improving, and it's very early days, but there seems to be some positive evidence on the output measures.
谢谢。昨天我们请 Harry 去新北市的学校去看他们的营养午餐，就 Harry 他很惊讶，你知道，我们一直觉得，台湾其实在食育方面需要更进步，但他知道新北市的校长说，他们新北市永平国小的吃营养午餐占了99.9%。然后 Harry 很惊讶，他说英国啊，营养午餐的比例在下降，但是他们希望孩子能够有更营养的摄取，以至于有更好的表现哦。这方面其实跟大家分享。季衡，我想问一下，季衡过去他的父亲其实祥圃实业是做猪肉的猪的营养品，畜牧产的，
所有的动物，
所有不是只有猪肉吃的，对不对？而且不是猪肉吃的
经济动物，经济动物就是猪、鸡、牛、羊、水产这些，
就是畜牧产的营养品。
对。
然后，因为他看见台湾这个整个生产链当中的不透明，所以他现在在我们在云林有一个透明的一个工厂，让很多的孩子或者亲子都能够去那边看到一些透明的过程，对不对？我们有来宾问说，你如何看待国内在这个整个生产链饮食透明未来的发展，或是说现在政府提供的生产追溯条码能够让民众查询这个部分啊，对于你来说会不会有帮助，或是说对于这个企业管理的效益跟价值在哪里，或是另外一个我反过来问您说，你觉得在这个市场当中这样的一个方式有哪些困难，然后你自己怎么看这个未来啊？
刚刚那个问题里面应该有4个问题吧？4
个问题，大概只有5分钟。
OK， 我先这样讲好了。任何跟政府有关的我都不回答哈。那我就先回答我自己所看到的东西哈，就是从我们先不管畜牧业，我们就走到食品业这种消费者端，我们看到这个 trend 其实有2个族群，我看到是3个族群，不好意思哦，就是真的有跟上这个脚步。这是我认为我们未来可以再 focus 的。第一个就是年轻的家庭，现在的这个小朋友非常得来不易，都希望给小朋友最好的。那这些妈妈跟父亲真的会花很多时间去研究，这是第一个。第二个是我们的银发族，他的人生已经走过这个一段路哈，可能他最后追求的是为自己最好的，所以他会花时间去研究什么是对他自己最好的。那我觉得这也是另外一样族群。第3个是学校。学校我真的有看到一些变化， 我刚刚说过，我参加过很多学校的一些邀请我们去演讲，小学就开始讲，我觉得这是一个很大的，对我来讲是很大的冲击。家长会如果请我去分享，我觉得很正常，但是小学生来听，我觉得非常特殊，而且我认为在整个族群，国小、国中、高中、大学，真的我觉得最有成就感的是小学，因为小学生没有包袱，他们的逻辑很清楚。所以，如果你跟他沟通，如果你又跟他有实作的互动性，这个他非常 engaging，OK？所以我认为这3个族群是台湾讲食物安全推广里面很重要的3个 category。那你说他们要用什么方式对应他们能更好？那完全不一样。学校的管道，私立跟公立也不一样。那如果是银发族群又不一样。那如果说是年轻妈妈族群又不一样。所以我老实说，就工具的话，我目前我自己也是非常的困惑。我们都想跟这些沟通，可是也不是很清楚，每一个用的 media 不太一样，有的看手机，有的不看手机，有的看网站，有的不看网站。学校又有一些采购或者是一些公问的流程，那私立学校当然又是另外一种选择。所以我必须说，我要把这个问题丢回去给你，因为我希望可以透过我们的努力，一起来找到对应的 medium， 因为真的他们的沟通平台不一样，而且要的东西也不太一样。OK， 那就回来讲说。我对这个产业的愿景是什么？我真的又想把这个问题丢回给大家，就是到底是不是吃好是有钱人的福利？这件事情对我来讲是个 struggle， 因为很多产品好像在真的要完全把它做到好的时候，跟你的现在成本是不太一样的时候，感觉好像是支持你的人好像是比较有钱的人，但是食品安全好像又不是只有有钱的专利吧，应该是全部的人民的福利吧。OK， 那中间如何达到一个平衡点？我觉得这2件事情是可以同时完成，但需要一些很大的 collaboration。第一个，我们的生产这个价格会高，很多原因是因为 scale 不够大。但是如果像刚刚 Henry 有提到，如果把 scale 扩大，其实产量的增加是可以 reduce cost 的话，是不是可以达到一个让更多人使用的情况？另外一个是。我们都 agree on value， 那消费者其实如果可以付出多一点，在采购的方式的这个意念的转换，以前叫做买 CP 值，就是说用最少钱买最多的量。那如果我是用适合的钱买适合我的量，这件事情讲很简单，做很难哦。但是如果能做到的话，其实我们应该有一个交集。OK， 所以我觉得这是我目前最大的纠葛，是说 OK。我真的不想把我们认为农产品就是好的或好的食品都叫贵的，就是有钱人才买。但便宜真的不是很容易买到好东西，但贵也不见得好。但是毕竟付出的结构还是很重要。那好像又变成是有钱人的专利，所以这件事情我觉得把它丢回来。我的愿景是希望透过一个沟通，把这个结构做大的时候，我觉得应该有 chance of bringing the bridge to closer together， 我觉得是有可能的。对。
所以那个季衡跟我们分享就是。要有消费者的意识要起来，然后消费者他要知道他付出的价钱，他可以买到的东西。如果你对于自己的期待越高，但是你就必须要有相对的付出，但是也不见得是一定要用很多钱才买到的好的食物。在消费者跟生产者当中，我们必须要建立更多的信任，对不对？这个也是我们3个讲者一直在强调这个信任 trust 这件事情，可能也就是在我们的透明之后就是信任。好，大家可以看到我们的后面已经非常非常多的题目哦。我现在这边大概有20-30个题目，我把一个比较重要，而且或者说比较多人按赞的往上放哦。第一个 ，David， 刚刚您的演讲中有提到哦，你觉得消费者沟通是食品产业必须全力以赴的工作重点，尤其是我们现在很多社群媒体其实资讯都是错误的，而且都没有写说到底是谁说的哈。所以，但是现今社群媒体充满各种真假莫辨的讯息。那我们或是消费或是业者们呢，应该如何进行有效沟通？这个是不是意味着食品业者或是这些生产业者必须重新改变多年来习惯的行销方式？他们要学习如何用数位媒体沟通？这问题麻烦您回答，谢谢。
The key question, I think, Esther, is in today's environment, how does a food company navigate social media? How do you use it? How do you prevent wrong messages? And the strategy that I think works best is, first of all, that manufacturing companies, food companies, first of all, need to know what's being said on social media. Are they tracking it? Are they following it? Are they understanding it? What does not work is when a food company sees a message that is incorrect, to try to fight it, to try to get into a battle with whoever's posted it. That typically goes backwards, sideways very quickly. What does work is for manufacturing companies to have a presence in social media. So first of all, they're tracking it, and they know what's going on. And then secondly, they have their own presence. They have their own page, whether they use Facebook or Instagram or whatever it is. They're out there doing their own thing in social media. When messages go wrong, it's very difficult to turn it around. So food companies shouldn't wait. Manufacturers shouldn't wait until they're trying to turn a wrong message around. It gets back to the companies being transparent, having a presence on social media, gaining the trust of the consumer before they need it. So there was a company that I worked with just in the last minute here, who realized that social media was a big challenge. So they created a relationship with a series of local mothers, and they called it their mummy blog, or mommy blog, and they invited local mums to come in to the manufacturing plant and to look around and to gain confidence that this company was actually doing good stuff. And then when something strange happened, these ladies would get on social media and say, no, you're wrong, this company is actually good. So they actually were able to use social media in a positive way. But it is a big challenge, and it's uncontrolled.
不知道是不是食品业者或是餐厅业者，他要问 Harry 说，请问英国新的学校厨师系统是如何训练团膳厨师的？因为您也是里昂的那个创办人，是您在训练这些厨师吗？还是他们怎么训练厨师的？
So the UK school system is incredibly fragmented, and there are very many ways of doing things. So some schools have their own school cooks who work directly employed by the school. Some schools hire caterers, third-party private caterers, who do the cooking for them. Some schools get the council, get the government. The government has a catering agency. So lots of different ways of doing it. What has happened over the last 20 years is that the status and the skills of that role has gone down. In the old days, back in the early 80s, school cooks would have a government training program, and they would be, the first thing they'd learn is how to butcher a whole animal from scratch. And then by the mid-90s, they were coming in and they were opening tins and putting them into a thing and heating them up. So we lost all of that skill. So some private caterers are putting that back. Some local authorities are. What we're now doing, we have launched a program called Chefs in Schools. So my sons go to the local state primary school, and we lost our school cook. And I happened to tweet, we're looking for a new school chef. And that was seen by someone who was head chef at a restaurant run by a man called Ottolenghi, who's a very famous chef in the UK. And she was the head chef there. And she was fed up working 100 hours a week, serving rich people food who didn't appreciate it. And she got in touch. And she is now, or has been for 3 years now, the head chef at my children's school. And what's interesting about what's happened there is there are a lot of other people who are in her position. So she has now found chefs from restaurants to come in and work with in 4 other schools. And we're now setting up a not-for-profit organization called Chefs in Schools, which intends to, again, by working school by school, to show that can be done and to retrain the chefs. And what she did, she didn't just bring in chefs from the outside. Most of the staff were kept. So they had been coming in opening cans. They were retrained. Everyone had to be able to cook the food. And so we now are beginning to get to a situation. She's in the papers, she's in the news a lot now. And 10 years ago, if you said to someone as a career, I'm going to go and cook in a school, that was in the UK, that was like cleaning the toilets in a football stadium. You know, it was like, if you said to your mum, I'm going to go and be a chef in school, you might as well have said, I'm going to prison for 10 years. I've got nothing to give back to society. And now, chefs in the press are leaving restaurants, which has become a very high status thing, and going to schools, and they're being applauded from it. So, again, in short answer, the first thing is to raise the status of the profession so that it's a serious profession, people want to go into it. And then we have a very fragmented system, so school by school in different ways, retrain the people in that system. It's complicated, it's not easy. You can't get the government to do it, but with the right, with the desire in society to create change and the right leadership on the ground, it can and will happen.
好，谢谢 Henry。我跟你说，现在在台湾当厨师是一个非常棒的工作。虽然就是像 Oliver 或是 Harry 也都是一个又帅气又会那个沟通的厨师，所以基本上我们如果学校厨师他如果在学校做好，也可以登上社群媒体，基本上对他来说也是一种 honor， 也是还不错的。对，那我刚才看到一个问题，我觉得还不错，可以问3个讲者。Kevin， 你帮我们先回答好，就是透明饮食是个完美理想的观念。的概念，但是以通路产品来说，的确可透过包装说明跟标签达到部分的透明。但是对餐饮业者来说，这个餐饮业者 Harry 跟那个 Kevin 其实都是餐饮业者来说，有任何建议的方式可以向消费者提供透明烹饪制成的资讯吗？另外，站在良善的非营利推广单位及消费者的观点上来说，如何提供餐饮食品，如何让餐饮食品提供者的透明资讯提供动静呢？他意思是说，你们如何在餐厅的时候，在餐饮业者能够让他们知道你们所有烹饪的来源跟制成呢？对不对？他的问题是这样。那或是说，站在良善的非营利推广单位来说，他们如何帮助这些餐饮业者提供透明资讯给他们？应该是这个意思。Kevin， 你可以帮我们讲一下，你如何提供这些透明资讯，或是整个？
我觉得透明资讯这个部分可能还是要先循序渐进但我们可以从像刚刚其实 nutritional fact 就是它的营养标示是一种方式，另外一个是制成的介绍，这当然都是如果是在工厂生产的东西，相对比较容易把制成 SOP 化之后展现出来，然后检验之后展现出来。但确实在餐饮业者来讲确实困难，因为他如果是真的是一级的好餐厅，都是必须在现场制作的，他没有同时间去帮你记录他的行为这比较困难。但是有一件事情可以做到，就是把食材来源我们可以一步一步来嘛。我觉得餐饮业者可以做第一件事情做的，就是把它的食材的这个源头或者是制造方式来做这个揭示，我觉得是第一步可以做到的。因为采购上来原料比较不容易变，而且如果在一个好的他当然可以转回去要求他供应商应该提供这个讯息，我才跟你买，那让业者就会想办法提供给你嘛。我觉得这是个良善的一个开始。那如果是制成的方面呢，可能还是得把一些你的在事先先把你的事先先把一些作业流程先写好，然后看用什么方式提供。我曾经看过一个做法是在等菜的时候。他就有一个 video 给你看他每一道菜在做的，他看完之后刚好算完做完的时间菜就来了。
台湾吗？
不是，这是在日本的。他就是一个寿司店，他把那条鱼你经常吃的寿司那条鱼，就用 AR 的方式在你的桌面上就一条鱼在这边游来游去，然后看完以后那个沙西米就来了。对，因为很多的时候吃沙西米的人不知道鱼，看到鱼但不知道鱼长什么样子。那这个部分不只是教育你鱼本身的样子在哪个产地，然后也有趣味性但是这是很大的投资 AR 的运用啦。当然我们可以用比较低成本的方式制作，但是并不是做不到，只是说 again 又回来讲这个是投资。消费者在不在乎这件事情？如果只是帮他当成一个好玩，可能过一下子就又热潮又没了。但是如果是消费者真的愿意要了解，其实餐饮业还是有方式可以做到。
对，谢谢 Kevin。那 David， 我想就是同样问题，就是在美国，你去餐厅吃饭，他们如何提供给美国的消费者一个透明饮食的整个生产链的透明？有这样的方式吗？或是特殊的一些案例
You know, Esther, and I think in the United States, most consumers at restaurants don't care about transparency. They want Henry-style perfect food. They want taste, they want flavor, they want value for money. Something that we run into regularly is seafood and transparency. And I'm a great lover of seafood, and let me take salmon as an example. Is frequently you go into a restaurant and they're serving salmon, and you say, is this farmed salmon or is it fresh salmon? And they either will say, we don't know, or they'll tell you what you want to hear, which is it's fresh salmon, and they have no clue. So we have some big challenges, and you know, on that theme of seafood and transparency and trust, there have been studies done again in the United States that indicate that 70% of seafood is in fact not what it says it is. It's sold as one thing, and it's actually something else. And it's essentially the challenge that we have of economic fraud, economic adulteration, where a manufacturer, a supplier can sell they can sell seafood at a high price, pretending it's something else. Fresh salmon is more expensive than farm salmon, so I can charge you more for it. So I think the reality, and this sort of gets back to what Kevin was saying, and I was thinking about that, is when you go into a restaurant in Taiwan, as you walk in, and we did the other night, we walk into a restaurant and there are all the fish in the tank. And you sort of pick your fish, and it may even somebody bring it to the table and it's actually alive and say, okay, here's the fish you're going to eat. Taiwanese people feel good about that. In the United States, if they brought the fish alive, people would be running out of the restaurant. They'd be freaking out. So we have to recognize that while some of these lessons can be applied globally, looking at the local culture and what works here, and it goes back to, I think, Henry's point when he was talking earlier, is let's look at what works in Taiwan and build on it. And some of the things that we learn in the United States is, I can tell you, don't go there. But the lesson is, see what works here and what works well. So I wandered off your question, but you know, I think it all gets back to understanding what works really well here and build on it.
我了解，就是那个刚才 David 跟我们讲，就说每个地方都有不同的方式嘛。如果像那个端个鱼，在美国的餐厅当中，大家会吓死活鱼，所以应该有因地制宜的不同方式哦。那这个 Harry 在英国，因为您自己也有餐厅，您如何让你的消费者了解你们餐厅这健康饮食其实是透明，而且他们整个背后的产销都是能够让他们理解？您的餐厅有在做这样的事情吗？
Yeah, I mean, it's a really interesting question. To David's point, we have part of our training program is to train our staff, if they're asked if our food is organic, which some of it is, that they have to say no, because not all of it is. So it's like we have to train, it's so much easier if someone says, oh yeah, it's all organic. So we actually train our staff that they have to be honest. But I think there's a kind of broader point, which is, first of all, for most consumers in the UK going out, it is what we would call a hygiene factor. So it is not the primary driver of the decision where to go, and it is, if it is a driver decision, it's just they want to know it's the case. It's also incredibly complicated to do. You know, if you're an individual restaurateur trying to work out all of the different things you need to know, your calorie content, you know, whether your fish is sustainable, etc., is very hard. So an example of a government regulation that didn't get enforced in the UK, which I think was great, they were threatening to make all restaurants put their calories for each dish on the menu by law. And this would have been a disaster for two reasons. First of all, while we do it at Lyon and it's on our website, I've got a friend who runs a Mexican restaurant where people go and drink tequila and eat tacos and have a fun time. The last thing they want is, when they're looking at the menu, is to have their fun evening with, like, oh, this is going to cost 670 calories. They don't care. They don't want to know. You know, don't have that by law. So I think that if you look now in the UK, Oaxaca as a chain, that chain as an example, because it's a hygiene factor for a lot of people, the people who have the scale and the cost have it all available on their website. So you can go and look at all of that stuff, sourcing. At Lyon, we also have icons. So we'll have, next to each dish, there'll be a tick, which means it's low glycemic index, a tick, which means it has good fat, only good fats in it, etc. So we offer a little bit more on the menu. For smaller restaurants, for individual restaurants, it is a living hell. It's almost impossible to do on your own, and that's actually why we started the Sustainable Restaurant Association, because we then go into these, we give them a questionnaire, and each year they commit to improving 2 things, and they move and move. And for them, we've now got a brand. We have in the UK now, I think, about 20,000 restaurants, where if you care, and a lot of people don't, you could just look at the little badge there, and it takes the pressure off the restaurant. But it is, that's why, that didn't exist in the UK, that's why we started it, but it is a really difficult thing. And the final point I'd make, which is, it's not, one point, which is it's not even clear sometimes it's all very well measuring, but you have to be measuring the right things. And a good example of this is low fat. So low fat became a big thing in the late 70s, early 80s. And it led to a massive transformation of our food chain. People started taking fat out of things, marketing things as low fat. And what happened is they replaced it with sugar and with refined carbohydrates to give a mouthfeel, to give texture. And actually, I think there's a good argument that low fat in itself has been net a very negative thing for our supply chain. And still, even if you look at the supply code, it says sat fat. It's very unclear that sat fat's a problem. Trans fats are, but actually there's good evidence now to show that sat fat is okay. So when you start measuring things, you can and showing things, if what you're measuring is measuring works, front of package stuff works, but you've got to get it right, because if you're forcing people to recognize the wrong things, you're in trouble. So it's a very complicated area.
了解，对，那个，所以刚才 Harry 讲到那个标示的问题，我也想要问另外一个，这是我自己也想问的，是1919食物银行的那个贵宾问的，他说：“请问在美国跟英国，在食品标示上面会有那个有效期限，就是说有关食品的最佳赏味期限跟有效期限如何规范？因为像我们买东西，有些时候我都会想说买的时间是最长的，哎呀，我这个最好10天20天，但是也有人提醒我说，你如果当天要吃，你就买当天或是2天，你不要浪费食物，因为你根本不需要。” 因为否则它可能就要丢掉了，所以在美国跟英国这个有效期限，就是最佳赏味期限跟有效期限如何规范，这影响到我们有关食品安全跟珍惜食物。现在很在讲珍惜食物、剩食不浪费，如何取得平衡跟兼顾。我记得好像有些老师跟我讲说，在美国其实并没有有效期限，它是赏味期限。我不知道这个解释，就是我想问一下 David 跟 Harry 在英国跟美国这样的状况。
Well, in the U.S., there are different labels, Esther. There's best by dates, there's sell by dates, there's use by dates, and there's nothing consistent. There is no regulatory requirement around those dates, and they are all based on quality. They're not safety based.
Harry 在英国的状况，你可以跟我分享一下。
We have 2 predominant uses. One is best before, which is quality, and then there's another one which is use by, which is used on things like milk and raw meat, and which is theoretically more safety based. I mean, in our family, I found a can of baked beans that was 25 years old the other day, and it was absolutely delicious. So we use the sniff test. You know, we look at whether the thing has been sitting around, whether it looks. We've evolved to have a very sophisticated set of senses to pick up whether food is worth eating, and most of the things that are going to kill you, botulism, salmonella, you know, or can make you very ill, you can't do anything about anyway. So. There's a lot of consumer pressure in the UK now either certainly to do away with best before dates, because a lot of people take them as being, I cannot eat it afterwards. And we waste something like 40% of the food that we buy in the supermarket. It's absolutely shocking, and that's a big part of it. So there's a big campaign at the moment going on to change the way we do best before and use by dates.
No, and to Henry's point, those dates cause waste. I mean, the beans are a great example. Another good example would be yogurts and milk. Those products are going to spoil and look disgusting. They're going to have mold and, curdled milk long before they're a safety issue.
安全问题了，就是安全问题。
Well, what happens is that a consumer will look at the date on a pack of yogurt and say, it's whatever, today's date is November 14th. If it says November 13th on the yogurt, they're going to throw it away. But it's completely safe. It is completely safe to consume it way beyond that date. But we've been trained, or we assume that if the date is yesterday's date, it's going to hurt us. And for many products, that's not true. And so we end up throwing a lot of food away as a result of that.
对 ，Kevin 有没有帮我们分享一下？
刚刚有谈到 UK 跟那个的经验哦，看看日本啊，日本的生鲜品其实你看到它是刚刚是 either or， 其实美国的日本的生鲜品有些这种高级的，像那种我们讲的和果子哦，他们就会有2个 date， 一个刚刚就是讲 best before 跟一个 use by， 那其实我的看法是，我觉得应该分成生鲜品跟冷冻品 ，fresh foods and chill foods and frozen foods. Frozen food 就没有什么 best by 这件事情 ，it's all frozen anyways. 所以基本上它就是 use by 就可以了，就是反正不要过期，就不要出问题。但是 fresh food 可能就会 require 2个 label， 那2个 label 应该还是在 safety 的部分上应该是我们强制的，因为那是对消费者比较在意的是 safety。但是如果业者自己本身想要提供最好的产品 experience， 他会加一个叫做 best before， 那就是希望你早点吃完，吃到最好的 quality。但如果不好吃，不要怪我，是你太晚吃它了 ，OK？ 但是如果你过2天吃，在还没到那个我跟你法定的这个时间内，都还是安全。所以我觉得生鲜跟冷冻可以做一种微调啊。那另外一个是，大部分其实这个浪费还是来自于，不是我们不要浪费，是来自于 lawsuits。Everything is based on lawsuits。所以说，如果说我们可以有2种做法，第一个就是我们大部分的食品业者因为要避免 lawsuit， 所以一定会把日期往前，因为往前才不会出事，往后出的事情就很麻烦。而且另外一种是业者即使要回收食品，也现在发现不太问题，赶紧丢掉算了，因为出了事情他还要负责，他以为他在做这个所谓的循环经济 ，collecting bad food and selling distribute to people even for free， they might get lawsuits。所以我觉得是不是另外一种方式，就是假设 best before 这个东西是确立的，那应该还有一个就是 allowance。那这个东西其实是不是应该可以有一种方式 sign some kind of waiver that， 因为你买任何东西都有 risk 嘛。但是如果你要让东西没有浪费，那你不能说用了就要告我啊，我只能把这个 risk 降低，是 some kind of waiver waiving my rights。那我这些人用了不会出事，但出事自己还是要负点责任，这 maybe 还是有可能解套，但是通常没有人敢 sign 这个 waiver， 所以所有人就丢掉，因为没有人敢担这个责任。
但是它其实是品质问题，不见得是安全问题，因为它可能在对不对品质。但是
这种都是 risk management， 没有叫做完美的，所以一旦有一件事情过头了，就会造成一件案例，那一件案例可能就吃不完兜着走了，对。即使是 you mean good， 可能就会 backfire 上去。
所以食品生产者真的承受蛮大压力的，对。问 Kevin， 针对已经入社会的年轻外食族，要如何改变他们的？怎么不见了？要如何改变他们的？最上面是不是你把它拉上？要如何改变他们的饮食习惯，建立食物与生产者信任的连结？
这个问题我会分成2块来看哦，因为年轻外食族的定义，如果是在15到35之间的话，或20到35之间的话，我看到的问题其实是 twofold。我觉得问题不是信任的问题，我觉得是荷包跟 CP 值的问题。我觉得其实很多的年轻消费者是愿意花钱的，那个 trust issue， 他们没有什么 trust issue， 但大部分因为他们 they're driven by quantity， 所以他们其实我看到根本不是 trust 的问题啊。但是如果说真的有年轻消费者是因为不相信外食，所以导致 这个去外面吃饭不习惯的话，如何改变他们饮食习惯 ？OK， 这个很难的原因是因为年轻族群有一个 trend， 他们喜欢油炸物，他喜欢量多的东西，他喜欢味道重的。这个跟饮食的习惯要改变，那你要很多人会年轻人跟我说啊，我又还没老啊，所以解决这个问题就是先变老嘛。对不对？可是这个，我觉得年轻的这个年轻外食族群哦，这个的问题可能不是我觉得是要先认清身体的负荷。如果用这种角度来讨论，就是说，为了不要在未来负担身体更多负担，更早老化、更早生病，应该在趁现在投资身体的角度，如果可以打通这一点，你就已经改变你的采购习惯了。你会去选择不同的餐厅，那再来跟我们来讨论什么叫 trust issue， 因为你自己的身体都还没接受这件事情的时候，没有 trust 的问题啊。OK， 我讲这句话是代表我自己啦，因为我自己饮食习惯也不是多好了哈。我选择食物很挑剔，我选择来源，我选择餐厅，可是我的问题是 nutrition benefit 的 combination， 这个我自己就做得很差。所以有不同的层次的面向了。Okay.
好，谢谢。所以年轻人要爱惜自己的身体，他就会改变他的饮食习惯。好 ，David， 我要问你一个很特别的问题，我觉得我特别想要拉出来问，就是有关那个添加物的问题哦。大家看第一题，其实这个 David 跟那个 Henry 都可以回答，或是 Kevin 你也可以帮我们看看，就是他这个是一个无添加饮食食品发展协会，他说有关看不到，你们看到？他说有关食品添加物的看法，就是您刚才演讲中提到食品安全有必要斟酌酌量使用防腐剂，但是这个其实他们也认同，但是然而在食品制造过程当中，如鲜味剂或是色素。因为你说，其实人们都很希望有 exciting 的这种口味嘛，这样，它并非必要的。是否有任何方式可以合理的规范食品添加物的添加的必要性？这个部分在美国怎么去看这件事情
？In the U.S., food additives are all regulated. Everything is controlled. You cannot put an additive in a food and sell it without it being approved by the Food and Drug Administration. It has to be approved. There are additives which we have a scale that we call generally recognized as safe, and it's known as GRAS, G-R-A-S. And these are additives which have been used for years and have historically never caused a problem. But a food additive is regulated. It's either generally recognized as safe through history or science, or it's a food additive. Now, when it comes to coloring, they are also regulated 100%. You cannot put a color into food unless it is approved. But what we're seeing as we move away from preservatives, colorings, the move towards clean labels is the desire to use natural colorings, which then creates another problem because nobody has adequately defined natural. What does natural mean? Consumers want natural color, they want natural flavors, but that then will start to drive up costs, and we haven't defined natural. So we just continually tie ourselves in a knot. But there is definitely a move towards using natural colors, not artificial colors, natural flavors, not artificial flavors. And all that means is getting away from chemically synthesized colors and additives. If it's grows in nature, it may be the same molecular structure, but it's okay. And this is where science says one thing and consumers say another, and science doesn't win the day.
所以就是，如果必须要添加防腐剂的话，其实还是得；但是如果是色素的话，能够降低或是用比较天然的色素来添加，其实是我们未来食品业者努力的方向哦。我待会下的题再问帅气的 Kevin 对于活菌株的看法。我先问一下有关 Henry， 就是我把它往上拉。Henry， 我想问一下有关我不知道英国的中学生啊，对于蔬食，英国的中学生，大家有没有看到？英国的中学生对于那个蔬食的推广接受度会不会也是不大？跟 可能台湾的孩子都喜欢吃肉，会不会就是英国的孩子是不是接受度不大？所以除了学校能够宣导方式能够改善之外，非正规场域的合作推广技巧，在英国当中有没有哪些能够让孩子能够均衡的饮食，能够有好的食物的说法？就是均衡的饮食怎么样做？所以在学校推广，你们在外面怎么做
Yeah.
？OK.
Okay. Before, I just wanted to make a quick point about additives, and then I'll come on to that. So, and I'm going to approach this not from a manufacturer's point of view or a restaurateur's point of view, but from a consumer point of view. One of the problems, I think, with the way that food has changed, and certainly I think the low-fat thing has taught us a lot, is that as with foods that go off, over the years, our bodies have evolved incredibly efficiently to be able to eat the kinds of food that we eat. And largely that evolution stopped a few hundred years ago, where we, almost however well we got, we could still have babies before we died. And so we've largely stopped evolving. Now, therefore, what we've seen is you can sometimes introduce or change diets a lot, and it'll be fine, and there'll be no thing. You can also change them a lot, and it won't be fine, and it'll cause real problems. And sometimes those problems don't become clear until quite a long time afterwards. And that's both true of diet and lead in petrol and all sorts of other ways we change. So as a consumer, I think that Michael Pollan's mantra of very simple, of eat food, not too much, mostly plants, is a very, very useful thing. And what did he mean by that? He meant eat food, eat what your grandmother used to eat. And actually, I think the clean label thing, although it's not 100%, but just looking at the number of ingredients in something you're buying and making sure you understand what they are is a pretty good rule of thumb for what you're feeding to your family. Now, if you do that, the cost will go up. You know, if you try and eat like that, the cost will go up. Preservatives are put in there to bring costs down. We can, and this comes on to the second question, most people can offset that cost by reducing their meat intake, not by very much. Meat is so much more expensive than other foods, and it's so much worse for the planet that if you try and spend more on your vegetables and less on processed food and eat processed food that's better and has fewer ingredients and reduce your meat intake, for most people, that should leave you in a good place. Now the question is, you're sitting with your children and trying to get them to eat their greens, and they're not doing it. That was the second question. So how do you get your children to eat the greens? My first observation, just from the school I was in yesterday, is that the Taiwanese kids there are a hell of a lot better at eating their greens than British children. They all, literally, I was thinking this is something I watched them, I stood and watched them. I don't know if they'd been told that there'd be severe repercussions with all the television cameras if they didn't eat their greens, but they certainly didn't look coerced. And they all came up and ate their greens. How do you encourage children to do that more generally? Within schools, the way that we have found works a lot is, and I know that you've put it in, Taipei has put in a lot of school gardens. So letting children grow things, eating them straight from the ground, and then cooking them, really time after time is shown to have a massive benefit in terms of eating the greens. At home, for parents, the most effective way, quick-fire way I've found, is you serve the vegetables first. So whenever I feed my children, while I'm getting the rest of the meal, I put the vegetables on the table. No child has ever, before they got to kind of the age where they have eating disorders, no child has ever starved themselves to death voluntarily. And if you served it in that little bit later and put the veg on the table first, you'll notice that that goes, and then you can serve the rest of the meal.
这好方法耶，就是用蔬菜先把他们喂饱，他们先吃蔬菜，这是好方法。最后 ，Kevin， 就是这个问题，就是有人告诉我一定要问您，而且一定要把形容词说帅气的 Kevin 对于活菌猪的看法。您觉得，您刚才讲说温体猪可能它会比较在不安全的环境当中在贩卖，那活菌猪呢？您的看法？
我想回去讲两个东西好不好？我还是想把它讲清楚哦。刚刚有问到就是那个年轻人的饮食习惯，我很快就跳到那个吃饭的买卖的 pattern 里面。但是我们还是回来讲啊，不管是年轻人或者是就是银发族哦，那个我们讲饮食习惯有两个东西，一个是 nutritional 的组合，营养的组合 好，这是一种饮食习惯，一种是挑选的餐厅的 style 或者它的 added value， 这是两件事不同的东西哦。那但是只是说这两个的 correlation， 这两个是有相对性的，是因为常常说，因为我是年轻，可能我的收入有限，或者我的对食物的了解不够深，所以我选择去的餐厅都偏向是较不健康或不标示食材履历的，或者是烹调方式的比例较高。OK， 甚至我看到的普遍的情况是这样。但是如果说我们是如果只是说饮食的习惯的调整，哦，那只是选择食材或餐饮的 style。但是我觉得，如果年轻消费者也是希望说，我想吃的好一点，好的定义是在于两个东西，在食材来源交代清楚，烹调方式较为符合永续养生的概念的话，这个观念要先建立，才比较容易去做好。这个我还是重申一次。那这样回到这个还有添加剂的部分哦，刚刚讲过我那个必要跟非必要性哦。其实站在要是我是管理这个安全，我还是以安全角度来看，有些添加剂当然有些是必要性，那非必要性也是有安全的，如果有设定好的话，例如说味精，它也不是不能吃的东西，所以你要有一个标示说不能加味精或不能使用味精这件事情，可能也不是那么，我认为是有点偏颇了哈。但是消费者可以选择说，因为我吃味精有不同的后遗症或者是不舒服感觉等等。所以我选择要去不吃味精的餐厅，或选择不加味精的产品，倒是可以发起一个像美国的这种做叫 gluten free。那因为很多 gluten free 的人，他们对麸质有过敏性，所以就开始有个 movement 说，我们这些人都要选择去吃 gluten free 的餐厅或者是产品，所以他就去找寻餐厅愿意标示 gluten free 或者标示 gluten free 的餐厅或者是产品，让这些消费者比较容易买到他认为这种非必要性的产品。我觉得这是消费者跟团体可以一起来 push 消费这种业者的。那业者觉得说，这个声量够大，那我就说，那我餐厅不用 MSG， 或者是我的部分产品不用 MSG， 然后你就用实际的采购行为支持它，我觉得这是比较合理的哈。那这个回来讲这个活菌株哈，我不会帮任何的产品说任何的事情啦，这个实在是不是我的工作哈。我们就分成我回来讲刚 balance nutrition 这件事情啊，我讲到问题之后可以改善的部分，除了买卖的 point of sale 就是买卖的地方的可以做得更好，就是在温层控管上，在屠宰运输其实也要有全程温控，是较佳的选择。那如果有一般的你看到叫做现在已经开始在推广的品牌肉，大部分都还是停留在冷冻的阶段。那品牌肉里面又分3个诉求，有品种诉求，有人讲说我的养的环境诉求，有人养的是这个饲料里面的添加物的特殊诉求，各有千秋。那站在我的看法是，都很重要。但是全部加起来，全部都好才是最好，所以我觉得我们可以循序渐进，看每一个产品对你的呼应性跟价值。但是要是我觉得真的要好的话，是屠宰环境要好，品种要好，吃的要好，分切要好，到你卖的地方再好，才是一个好的肉品。但是这个部分可能需要沟通，它所对应的价值跟价格是什么样，那才可以讨论好。那我是觉得，如果有心推广这个所谓的品牌猪的或者是生鲜食品的肉类菜类，都是如果你可以，我觉得是你有问题就要问他，那他能回答的你你有办法相信他，就是第一步。好，但是我觉得均衡是最重要的，平衡是最重要的。
均衡是最重要的。对，是这个好，谢谢 Kevin 刚才的回答3个问题。我最后要问 Henry， 因为有我们的那个贵宾说，有61个按赞，可是我没有把他问题问出来，就是有关 Henry 你在英国的。Henry 最后一个问题，3分钟好吗？就是您曾经花2年时间调查全英国的校园午餐厨工跟学童的用餐经验，而且用来提供新版本的校园午餐的指南建议，是否可以请您分享有关你调查这50几所学校的经验跟结果？那如果我们也希望进行类似的校园午餐调查跟改革，你有什么建议？然后另外一个比较相似的题目就是，您在演讲中刚才讲到说，在2014年教改之后，已经把烹饪成为这个必修的科目。那现在，但过去英国已经有将 已将有一整个世代的饮食文化传承的断层，所以校园中的老师们可能自己也不会煮饭。那台湾目前也正在推动食育立法，想请问有关英国这个政策的配套措施，您能够提供什么样的资源跟协助或是建议？台湾现在也在食育的立法，然后我们也有不同的版本在立法院，也希望能够推动。那就您推动英国的食育的推动，你有什么给我们一些什么建议
？Wow.
Okay. 很大的题目。
Yeah, so very simply, first of all, what would I do in Taiwan? I think that the first thing is to be really clear about what problem it is you're trying to solve. So the problem we're trying to solve that had become very, very acute in the UK was A, the problem of £10 billion being spent by the National Health Service on food-related diseases, and the terrible misery, human misery that sit behind that figure, and B, the fact that children learn better when they're well fed, and we knew that there were schools where children weren't well fed and weren't being well fed, and therefore were not performing to their best. And it seems that you have slightly different issues here and slightly different things, but unless you know really what you're trying to solve, when the going gets tough, when you're trying to persuade politicians or schools or head teachers why this is more important than all the thousands of other things they have to do, unless you can make that clear, then you won't be successful. Once you've defined why it's important, then, as I said, I think the most important thing is go and visit schools. There will be schools in Taiwan that are doing this well, and find those schools and share that best practice. So that would be kind of what I would do on schools. I'd get on a train, go and start visiting schools. In terms of the curriculum, so I know what I wouldn't do. So you've got to be really careful with curriculum, I think, in terms of the amount of freedom you give schools versus the amount of freedom you let them have. So we were talking yesterday with the Department for Agriculture. They had wanted to stipulate at 4 hours a term on food education, a number of hours. I think that's a real mistake, because it becomes a tick box. It's like, I've done the 4 hours as a head teacher, therefore I've done that. It doesn't matter, I'll get someone in to do some rubbish and I've done the 4 hours. So again, if you look at the curriculum, and if you go to schoolfoodplan.com, you can find that curriculum. It's very short. And what it says to the head teachers is, here as a country is how we want the children to be different. You look after how you educate them, but this is the reason and what we're hoping to achieve. And if you set people those kind of targets, you'll find that people rise to the challenge rather than being very specific about what they have to do.
对，所以这个谢谢 Harry， 他昨天因为看了一些那个新北市的状况，他告诉我们说，不一定要在食育的课程里面一定要有4小时的规定，其实要让鼓励这个校长愿意做更多的事情，其实非常好。那
might need to be more than 4 hours. The point is, if you say 4 hours, that becomes the thing that everyone does, rather than focusing on actually what you're trying to achieve.
所以就像英国，他可能把我们的食育课程放进我们的其他课程里面，可以学数学啊，学什么，就融入式课程这件事情，其实在我们里面我们可以去思考，对不对？它不是必须要独立出来成一个食育课程，它可能时间会更多，对 ，right？ 谢谢 Harry 跟 Debbie 跟 Kevin， 我们大家再给他们掌声一下，非常精彩的演讲哦，谢谢。